Good afternoon, this is Kiran Rai here reporting for the Frontline. Today we have Bob Marley's son, Rohan Marley, exclusive interview we'll be having. Rohan, good afternoon, how are you, sir?
Good, good. How's it going?
Thank you so much for coming onto the Frontline. We really appreciate your time. And also the anniversary of your father, 45 years. You must feel very proud and very honored to see so much love and attention on social media from your father.
Absolutely. That's the message of love, and when the message resonates, we always proud of that. That it's people are really getting the vibes.
Oh, really? Fantastic. Fantastic, Rohan. So my first question to you is, because obviously, going back in all your journey, etc., what's life been growing up as the son of Bob Marley? And the reason why I ask you this is because you have the stories, you have the memories, you also, at the same time, you have the journeys. What was it like growing up as, the son of one of the most famous reggae singers in the world?
Not a responsibility, because as a young Rastafari, as a son of a Rastaman, right? There's a certain life principles that you abide by. So, growing up like that in my mother's household, when they cook something for themselves, they have to cook for me what my father wants me to eat. So, growing up, Bob's son is really growing up in terms of the our young Rastafari youth, where it's about what we eat, how we think, how we live, and being being a part of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. So growing up that way is really leading towards a life of Christ consciousness, and how to do it in a living way. So that's why Rastafari.
So, in other words, what you're saying is it's like a culture in a way. It's not like a religion, but it's like a culture, an understanding,
Yeah,
taking on the steps as your father.
yeah, because as a father, you expect your son. Because when a man have children, right? They don't have children for their children to follow someone else.
Absolutely, no, I agree. It's better for you to understand and them
Right.
understand as well. Absolutely.
Right. So when as a father feel like this is the right way for you, you want your children to also follow that way. And then that comes with a certain ways, and then it's even greater when the ways are aligned with the Bible and the ancients of days. So it's much easier that we now can really find a channel to even take that and teach that to our children when we come of age.
Now, in terms of memories, as a Bob Marley, legend, reggae singer, same time, 11 children, I believe, 11 children your father had.
Same, same.
Yeah. Now, at the same time, personal memories you've always had. What's one personal memory that you remember that's never been shared before in something that your father's, one of your most famous memories you've had in the past?
Let me see, never been shared before. Let's see. I mean, to say never been shared, I don't know if that would be a true statement, because I might have said it before.
No, fair enough.
I just know that my father, man, that he loves his children, and he's a protector of his children. And also, he loves that his children live a free life, freedom, independence, but within the guidance, because just being in Hope Road alone, I just remember days of our father teaching us that when you have more, you have to give. So it's really something like that. And one particular instance was a Sunday when a few youths, they came to see my father, because they normally come during the week and you help them out. But my brother Steven and I, we were at the yard that time, and we told the boys that today wasn't their day, today was our day, kind of thing. And then our father took notice of that. He called us upstairs and he gave us some money. And there was like a little ice cream truck outside, or ice cream man on a bicycle selling ice cream cakes and such. And he told us that we should go, the boys outside the gate, that we should let them inside the gate, buy them ice cream, and we
Right.
should watch them eat the ice cream and not have any for ourselves. So we kind of learned the lesson from that, meaning like, you know, the reason for being here is just more than just a selfish thing, right? And then when youth, especially youth, are in need, you have to be able to support the youth. So we were taught these principles at a young age. The needy, right. Certain principles through Rastafari. So those are some of the lessons that
Was
we
he
learned.
strict? Sorry to interrupt you there, but was he a strict father?
Super strict, but super super strict, super strict in regards to the time you have with him. You know, he's so busy doing so many other things that the little moment you have is more of like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Make sure this, make sure that. So it was very much so super strict. Just wants his youth to be on the right path.
Was he also disciplined as well? Because in order for him to sell out all these millions of albums and to also come from a country where it was a developing country at that time.
Yeah, and then Rastafari is the discipline, right? Because it's a way of life, and it's not just you just can't do anything. You have to follow certain principles. So the discipline comes through identifying that divinity within self.
Sure.
So you have to find the discipline to find that divine order. So the goal was to be disciplined enough to reach that state where word sound become flesh, and then so the heart, so the mind, you know. So the oneness. So that was the discipline.
Now, in terms of social media today, I want to go more into social media. As you know, social media is a huge part in the same of music, fashion, politicals, entertainment, etc. Now, I want to first know about your opinion, then I also want to know what you thought your father, what he would think about social media. What's your thoughts on social media and the moment, musicians now becoming very well known from TikTok, Instagram, etc. Is it hard work? Is it not hard work? I mean, what do you think?
You know something? It's a beautiful channel, right? If you use it properly, right? But I mean, it's always dependent upon the person, how we utilize the tools, because no matter how we see life, technology is going to advance.
100%.
So social media is a part of the technology.
100%.
It's a communication. It's a way to communicate. It's also a way to tap into things that you never thought you'd ever see.
Sure.
So it's how you use it, and then it has to do with the person, how the person is in general. From the moral standpoint, is what's it for. So I think it's a good thing from a standpoint of who's utilizing the tool. And same thing, it's like no different than controlling your own radio waves, right? Controlling your own telecommunications.
So what you're saying is there's positives and negatives into this.
In everything, because you can go to the grocery store and find negative things to eat.
Exactly, I agree.
It's choices in life.
I agree.
So I think it's how you utilize a tool.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, in terms of AI, AI now, majority of most movies, music, musicians, music videos, you can actually make a music video just by using AI. Do you think AI is used appropriately? Do you think at the moment AI is a necessity, or do you think at the same time AI is something that is just being experimented at the moment and it's a danger to the society in the future?
You know what? I think the one thing I can say it's good for is like for researching, should be a tool to be able to like, there's Google, and you can go, AI should be able to go into Google. If you say, give me everything on the word live, right? AI would pull up 1 million different, instead of you spending the time to do this research, it can bring you all of the already existing documents, right?
Absolutely.
But in terms of formulating a wayward and giving you direction, that's where we cross the line.
Right.
Because you still have to lead your way through morality, and there's no morals in technology, right? It's
Absolutely.
technology tool again. So it's always how you use the thing, right? So me, I'm for it as a tool of like a dictionary, like such thing. Hey, pull up a quote from so and so from so many times, like, and then again you still have to fact check certain things, because the AI itself is controlled by a man. It's not like and the man kind of gives the AI what limits.
Of course, 100%, I agree.
And so you have to be careful in terms of that, also that interpretation, because it's all interpretive, right? The AI is interpreting this same as you would interpret it. There's a different perspective. So it's like that. You have to be careful with those things.
Absolutely. Now, mental health. Sorry, no. Sorry, go back to into your father. In AI, what do you think your father would have thought about AI in the generation if he was around today?
Wow, it's
Would he have supported it, or do you think he would have been worried about it?
I mean, you can't be worried about things you can't control, So I for sure we're not worried about that because we sing this song. Don't worry,
No,
all the
don't
things,
worry.
all the things. So
Absolutely, fantastic.
he's for sure not worried about that. But I mean, like I said, if there's a youth, a young youth that's 13 years old, 17 years old, that's you mastered how to utilize AI to the
Absolutely.
point that is authentic, then you're appreciative of it. But then again, it's like anything else, man. It's how you utilize it. So we don't judge because it's still all of these creations and creativity come from man,
Yeah.
right? It's just man mind expounding on what they think is necessity for mankind. So some people create all different types of things, and it's just again how you utilize it. No different than weaponry or motor vehicles or any such thing, right? Like electric cars and all these different things, and non-operative cars that are self-automated cars are driving themselves, right?
Well, the world is
So
very advanced now compared to what it was.
sure, so it's like you just have to make a choice of what
Yeah.
you're gonna take part in.
Now, in
You
terms
have
of
a,
the
you have
now,
a choice.
yeah. Now, in terms of what you think, now, it's all good being a visionary. Like your father was a visionary, he's well ahead of his time. At the same time, his obviously genetics must have passed on to you and your family, etc. In terms of musicians, music, literature, entertainment, etc. But the world is very different from how it was. We have people, like I said, AI. We have social media, etc. Where do you think the world? Forget about social media now. In terms of the world, where do you think the world's going to lead in the next 10 years? Because a lot of people are very, very depressed. They're very concerned about the world today in terms of politics. They're concerned about the world itself. What do you think the world will be in the next 10, 15 years? Do you think it will come to an end, or do you think just the same time it will be in a
No.
situation? Yeah.
Well, where we come from, we say world without end, right? So man cannot end what he did not create, right? This you came and saw this, and the earth is going to be here,
No, 100%. I agree.
But systems and such may fall because of what's happening in this time, right? Where we like it or not, we're elevating our consciousness, right? So it's a higher consciousness, higher level of thought, and that has to do a lot with even technology, right? It's giving you more information. You're seeing things that you never thought you'd see, and things that you never thought exist. People are pulling them up, and you're having access to that. So what's happening is the wealth of information is also advanced in human beings from a knowledge standpoint. So what's going to happen? The world was going to be more, I would say more autonomy. I think the word would be. Ones are going to become more self-reliant, independent, and really believing upon their own vision. And really manifesting what's really coming from within them. Because what happens is we're coming on a platform where we're getting to the point where we're realizing that we're all human beings, we're all equal.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
In
I agree.
terms of, so we're all here for the same purpose, and the purpose is to live. And now it's going to be a consciousness awakening, where people are going to start to take care of themselves a little more health conscious, more family orientated. Because when things come to push, things come to shove, it's just your neighbor.
Yeah,
You're gonna
exactly.
start
Family. Yeah,
family
100%.
and the neighbor and the ones next to that one. So it's becoming that point now where people want more like leadership roles and more life. Not so much like just get up every day and do the 9 to 5 minutes a week till one day where you just pass away, right? People want to
100%.
kind of live. People want to live.
Yeah,
And,
100%. I agree.
and the work you do is so you can live better, not just we're not living to work, we work to live. You dig?
100%. And do you think also, in terms of your father, do you think there's ever going to be anybody else in the future? Because they say like people like Michael Jackson, people like they come every 100 years. Do you think there's anyone ever as influential as your father coming forward in the future as a reggae singer?
It all depends on what inspires you, and who is inspired by what and the source you want. Because as time goes on, there's always someone there that's inspiring the masses, and whether that person has a wealth of spirituality, or just material wealth, or whatever it is, there's always someone. But in terms of Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, and the greats, they're individual people, and everyone is special, right? So it's what we have to realize in seeing what's special in each and every one to really that person can teach us and we can learn from each other. So those beings before us was an example to show you what mankind have the ability to do and how much greatness is within self. And if we can align with that same divine order, because I don't compare my father to anyone, right? My father come about something else. He came to live a greater life in terms of a divinity way, right? Connecting the material and the spiritual and making them one, right? So trying to always seeking divine life, and when you seek that divine life, you find yourself living more happy. So
100%.
the goal is to, and when you're like that, you start to help more people, and you want it because when you're happy, you want to make others happy, you know. So and then the ways in doing that is you really going into yourself and figuring out what can I do, how can I contribute to society, what am I going to do now that I have a home, a house, I have enough clothes, and I have enough food. What do I do? Am I going to sit around and gather more food? Am I just going to be a person that gathers more things as life goes on, gathering, buying more stuff for myself? No. At one point, the stuff you have should last you 10 years now, right? So
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? So you
Absolutely.
should. So now you no longer have to just live to buy clothes or live to do this. You already have a system in place. So now you can start to help others, right? Because that's
100%.
just the key. And when we start to think like that, then you start to see the magnificent human being that we should all try to emulate, right? And that's why we choose Rastafari, because Rastafari gives each and every one a concept of how to be kings and how to be queens, and that's leadership.
Right. And also your father went through a lot of racism, One Love, all the songs that he went through, but at the same time he was singing about the reality. Racism, let's just be honest, we
Exists.
both come from a diverse
It exists.
background,
It exists.
yeah,
It
and
can.
exists. Now, do you
It is
think
what it is.
yeah, now, do you think in terms of racism, now, England England is a prime example, the US is a prime example. Do you think racism will ever end in your opinion, or do you think it's always going to be there systemic
All
in
right.
people's minds?
All right. Let me tell you when racism is going to end. You see, when the earth see like an indigenous man, right? The ancients of days, indigenous, and with all the wisdom and knowledge, and bring forth love, and everyone sees that, right? So we Haile Selassie is who it is for I and I, right? But it seems as if everyone needs a reminder of what it is to be a king, and how much when the king is the pure leadership with love, everyone will follow. So I think when ones see the presence again, they need to see that the number one being with full of love. So where he comes on a spaceship, and then you look up and say, "Oh my Lord, you're that's you."
Exactly, exactly.
You know, I mean, it's gonna take something like that,
Absolutely.
because no matter what you do, it's like a thing inside of people that feels like they shouldn't. Like you're better than another person. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
When it's tough, because I remember when I was in England recently, and the question there was like a Luke Gossip Jr. and I forget the lady's name. She's an actress. They had this a TV show about the life of I forget his name also. I'm bad with names, but the question I asked in that place, I said, "Hey man, is white people ever gonna have love for black people? Black people meaning just the lesser fortunate ones,
Sure.
right? Not just black, not a skin color, black in terms of how one perception." So that's a great question. My brother Ziggy just created a song that racism is a killer, because it's so pertinent in today's time. You know, if you look into like the La Liga, if you look into the Premier League, if you look in any leagues,
Yeah.
you'll see how the fans are treating the players because they come from a different background. So racism is a killer. So it's gonna have to go in man heart, and when the because like I said, in this day and age, everything that you think about and know about is going to start coming right in front of you. So it's going to have some revelation to take place that's going to wipe away this type of
Behavior.
principle.
Behavior.
behavior and these ways, because His Majesty's speech says, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes. We don't have war until the basic human rights are equal and guaranteed to all without regards to race. We're going to have war, So those little simple, basic human rights things, right? Because just because you don't have enough food doesn't mean you're a lesser person. You could live in the desert. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, exactly. No, I agree.
So it doesn't mean doesn't because you're clothes. You don't live where there's clothes all over the place. You live where you live. So you shouldn't judge people based on their environment
Or their color, or their color.
or ethnicity. Exactly. So what are we doing? But yet still you can go to a bar and get drunk and hurt yourself because instead of taking some of that good money and say, what? We get some friends together and see what we can do, because that's the magic. You see, when you can put your friends together and your friends can say, something, what do we do? What is our goal? Let's build a hospital.
100%.
So them
100%.
type of vibes that meet upon right now. Meet upon them thing that like how I can be better as a human being. And being better as a human being is helping others.
Absolutely.
Just making life better for each and every other person I come across, or just an idea. And if no one wants to help me do it, I have to do it myself, and that's what makes me a Rastapreneur. So I want to create the business that I'm creating, or a business that I can help to further others in life. Because what you want, a bigger house? I don't want a bigger house. I'm fine. I'm good enough. My children, they have their own homes. They have this, they have that. They're doing their thing too. So my goal now is really about what is the game I'm going to play today. I'm going to play the game of life, and the game of life is helping others.
Absolutely. And my last question to you, Rohan, in terms of
Yeah.
the message you want to say to the people today, in terms of the anniversary of your
Yes,
father, what message would you like to tell the people? And also at the same time, what was the message would you like to tell the people that you just spoken about in terms of racism? People who will discriminate people across their thing. What message would you tell people today?
So, for instance, if you look at Africa, right, and you look at Europe, and you see what the Europeans have done to Africa, right, and have no remorse, don't think that, maybe, hey, maybe we should contribute something back to Africa and, help build some more roads. And, Africa's given so much, if you look at even South Africa, right?
Yeah.
And there's a complaint about xenophobia and these things. And then you think about what happened in the 70s and the 80s in South Africa, and what the rest of the world was fighting for for the against apartheid. And now you see that, but it's like a sickness in the mind. And you said something earlier about mental health, right? There's something going on where I don't know if it's a frequency or something that's driving people's mind a little bit crazy, and ones can't think for themselves and understand that you're, from your flesh and blood, we're brothers and sisters in this planet. My message would be, man, learn to be givers, not takers. And speaking of content, and when I just came from Burkina Faso, and when I think about leadership, that's what I think about what's happening in Burkina Faso, because there's a president there that's really caring about his people. Forget about the outside world. I mean, forget about who wants to say what, who wants to take. No, forget about all of that. What about the people in the land, on the country? Who's looking after them? The outside world isn't thinking about that. The outside world is thinking about trade and how much we can take from this place, and how much wealth they have, and that wealth belongs over here. Now, how can that be? That wealth needs to go into the country. The people should profit from the wealth. It should be more like partnerships and relationships that one should think about, not raping us because you don't have the machinery or you don't have the access to the buyers and such. Because no, it should be a fair partnerships. So when the world starts to look at Africa as a place of a lot of natural resources, and how we can partner with Africa, not rape Africa. That's my message. Is really to think about how can we return some of that aid that was taken from Africa. How can we support Africa now so the world can be balanced,
Absolutely.
right? And China has emerged, Japan has emerged, South Korea has emerged, Australia has emerged, all these different regions has emerged. United States have emerged, because remember they were one. United States of America. We were right here once in deficits and such, even, but in terms of development, there's emergency there, emergence. And if you look in Latin America now, they're emerging. So what about Africa?